Well, welcome to this week's podcast for platform launchers. I'm John Stange. And this week, we're going to be talking about the concept of identifying your ideal client. Now, I don't know if this is something that you've thought about before, or if this is something that you feel like you're already doing, or if it's something that you're wrestling with. But if you're in the process of developing an online platform, something that's message based, something that relates to content that you'd like to deliver, I think it's helpful to identify your ideal client. And so we're going to talk about that and some ways that you could do that successfully to actually help your platform advance a lot quicker. Now, recently, in fact, this happened just less than a week ago, my son and I had the opportunity to have lunch with Dan Miller. I don't know if you're already familiar with Dan Miller, but if you aren't familiar with Dan, he's the author of the book 48 Days to the Work You Love. It's a very good book. I'd highly recommend it. It's a very popular book. I actually first learned about it through Dave Ramsey's show because Dan and Dave are good friends, and Dave often recommends the book. But several months ago, several months before our lunch, Dan made an offer on his podcast. And he just happened to mention that he would be happy to treat a small group of listeners to lunch on a certain day if we took the time to fill out a quick form on his website. And then from the entries, he would select several people. And so my son and I were talking about it. We followed his instructions, and Dan graciously selected us. And I'll even say this about Dan. Dan is someone that I look up to. I never miss an episode of his show. I actually spoke with him at a conference last year in Osprey, Florida. And he was gracious enough to endorse one of my books. My book, Dwell on These Things, was endorsed by Dan. But in some ways, I still feel like I'm getting to know him. So I was thrilled for the opportunity to just be able to have lunch together. I was also very excited for the fact that he allowed my son Daniel to also be included in this lunch. And so Daniel and I had lunch with Dan and also his wife Joanne, and also a group of people that Dan had assembled for this lunch. We were all able to eat lunch together in Orlando, Florida at a place called Senor Frogs. So I don't know if Senor Frogs is a popular establishment or not. It was a very nice establishment. We enjoyed it. We had some good Mexican food there. But we sat down for a couple hours and we talked, and Dan organized this. He put this together. And as I observed the group, as I was looking at the people that were seated around the tables, I noticed a commonality. And first of all, I'm sure that there are many different people that listen to Dan's shows and read his books. But that lunch showed me that, at least in that context, Dan seems to have an ideal client. Other than my son and other than Dan's wife, everyone at that table was a middle-aged man. That's who responded to Dan's offer to have lunch with him. That's who actually took the time to fill out the form that was on his website and to answer the questions. He even asked us questions like, "What's your favorite car, or your dream car?" And so we had to answer that on there. So it was like a metric we had to go through, and that's who Dan selected to experience this unique and genuine and generous and kind opportunity. He allowed us to get together. He put this group together, and that's who took him up on the offer. And so I bring that up as an example because as I'm looking around that table, again, other than my son and Dan's wife, it was a table of middle-aged men. And I think if you and I are going to build successful online platforms, I think we need to attempt to identify our ideal client as well. And that doesn't mean you have to exclude people that don't necessarily fit in this metric, but I think it's helpful to start with your ideal client. And I'm just going to suggest 5 very simple questions that you could ask yourself that might help you do that. And the first question is this. First of all, are you clear about the help you offer? Are you clear about the help you offer? So being clear about the help that you offer, it's vitally important if you're going to successfully target your ideal client. And ironically, I often see people launch online platforms without being very clear about the kind of help they're planning to offer. Now, in my context, I oversee 2 online platforms. I have a faith-based platform that you could find at desirejesus.com. I've been producing content there for years and years at this point, and it's geared toward helping people grow spiritually. That's my great passion. I enjoy writing. I enjoy recording material that helps accomplish that goal. And so for years, I've been putting that material together. My other platform is a business-based platform. I host that at platformlaunchers.com. And it also has a very specific goal. My goal with Platform Launchers is to help others build, grow, and monetize a message-based online platform. That's what I'm helping them do. I help people discover their message. I help people figure out how to deliver their content. And I show people that they can derive an income from this as their platform matures. And I help explain strategies, how that can be done as well. So I'm mentoring a group that's mastering skills like podcasting or blogging or web design or writing books. We have a lot of writers actually in the group. Marketing, that's something, no matter what your platform is, you're going to be doing some. Some of us are focusing on membership communities. Some of us are doing coaching. Some of us are creating courses. And then in the midst of all of this, we're also trying to earn a recurring income. That's the nature of that platform and what it entails. So I'm very clear about the help that I offer. And because I'm very clear about the help that I offer, that actually helps me find my ideal clients, the people that I'm trying to work with, the people that would benefit from this kind of content. But I have a second question. The second question of the 5 is this: who seems to be resonating with your message? Who seems to be resonating with your message? So when I talk about developing a message-based business or or building an online platform that's message-based, there are some people who look at me confused when I bring that up. They wonder what I'm talking about. But then there are others who know exactly what I mean. So most often, the people who know what I'm talking about are going to be the type of people that I am most likely to work with. They connect with my message. They see the need for the services that I offer. And I've often found that they also tend to dream about the same things that I'm dreaming about. So the people that resonate with my message, those are the people that are more likely to work with me. And the same is true for you. If you notice that people are resonating with the message that you're communicating, keep in mind, those are the people that are most likely to work with you. They resonate with what you're saying. They maybe even connect with your personality and the way you go about saying the things that you're saying. So keep your eyes open for those who seem to connect with what you're talking about. All right, a third question when you're trying to identify your ideal client, that third question is this: who reaches out to you? Who reaches out to you? So every day I receive messages from people who read and listen to my content. And I try to respond to every message I receive, although I'm sure there are a few that have kind of fallen through the cracks through the years. I don't think I've missed too many messages, though. I typically respond to everything the same day I receive it, if I can. But there's definitely a pattern I'm seeing with the people who reach out to me. And I'll share a few characteristics that I frequently see. Many of the people that reach out to me, especially in regard to platform development questions, many of those people are entrepreneurial, they are motivated, they are action takers, and they tend to have a heart for serving others. That's a pattern. That's a thread that I see running through many of the people that reach out to me. They also tend to be very gifted teachers and communicators with a desire to teach and communicate more. And I think it's fair to say that many of them are also dreamers and visionaries. So these are people that are really, thinking about things that could be, not just the things that are. And observing those personality traits helps me identify my ideal clients. When I find people that are entrepreneurial and motivated, action takers, that have a heart for serving others and love to teach others, and they tend to be optimistic, dreamers, and visionaries, I frequently think, all right, those are the type of people that will resonate with what I'm doing. That's my ideal client. That's the type of person I enjoy working with. And that leads me to my fourth question. My fourth question is, who do you enjoy working with? I think that's something that's really useful to wrestle with. And I'm going to share a story when I get to my fifth question that relates to this, but I'll share just a principle real quick. Who do you enjoy working with? So there are certain personality types that I enjoy working with. And don't tell everybody, but there are certain personality types that I don't think I particularly enjoy working with. So some that I do and some that I don't. I enjoy working with optimistic action takers who aren't afraid to fail. That's who I enjoy working with. You got to be optimistic. You got to be an action taker. You can't be so paranoid about failing that you never try new things. I don't particularly enjoy, at least in the platform related area, I don't enjoy working with negative people who only seem to focus on the 3 reasons why an idea might not work instead of the 30 reasons that it might work. And sometimes I encounter people like that. So it's helpful to really ask that question: who do you enjoy working with? And if you could figure out who you enjoy working with, that can be a huge tool or a huge benefit when you're trying to figure out who's my ideal client. But then the reverse of that is question 5, and that's this: who would you rather not work with? Now, this could be tricky to answer, but I was recently speaking with another friend who leads an online membership community, and we were talking about the kind of people who seem to be attracted to what he's offering. And he commented that he's selective about who he chooses to work with because he doesn't want to have to teach his members basic life skills. That was his comment. He said, I don't want to have to teach my members basic life skills. He wants to work with people that are operating at a more advanced stage. So that was the metric that he was using. And he was saying, this is who I don't want to work with. I don't want to have to work with people that I have to teach basic life skills to. I want to talk with people and work with people who are operating at a more advanced stage of, and it was related to a certain kind of content that was being created. And so his comments, as I'm hearing him talk about some of the things that he's thinking about, his comments forced me to think more about who I would rather not work with. And since I like to work with people who take action, I just mentioned that a moment ago, I would then like, or maybe I should say it this way, I would rather not work with people who are paralyzed by emotional stress. Now, what do I mean by saying that? And by the way, in other areas of my life, I'm happy to work with people who are wrestling with all sorts of things. But in the platform development area, I've noticed that I don't necessarily want to work with those who are paralyzed by emotional stress. And what I mean by that is this: we all deal with emotional stress. But if it constantly paralyzes us, or we get good at making excuses, that's not very helpful. And I find that I lose motivation to work with people who spend most of their time making excuses because they never actually get around to making progress. And if I'm committing time, when you think about your life and you think about the resources that you have, one that's very fixed is your time. And so if I'm going to expend time and energy that comes from just time related things, if I'm going to use time, resources that I can't get back, I don't want to work with people that really just excel at making excuses, because that feels like a waste of time. And I've noticed for me that tends to frustrate me, and I don't think I'm going to serve people very well if I find myself frustrated. But you send someone to me that is an optimistic, teachable action taker, who likes to teach others, who likes to serve generously, who takes action and does things like they say they're going to do it. That's the type of thing that I find very motivating, very encouraging. I very much enjoy working with that kind of person. So let me sum up by just mentioning this. If you're attempting to build an online business, or if you're attempting to build a message-based platform, have you asked yourself the questions that I'm suggesting that you ask? Are you clear about the help you offer? Can you pinpoint the kind of personalities that will inspire you and the kind of personalities that might actually drain you? I think that if you take time to thoughtfully identify your ideal client, the benefit of doing that is you're going to be able to tailor your services to meet their needs. And you're also going to be able to target your messaging and your marketing to reach them directly. So I'd encourage you to wrestle with these questions, see what you come up with. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the clarity that it helps you develop and the time it helps you save as you keep working toward your dream. If you identify your ideal client, you're going to be able to target your messaging and your marketing toward serving them. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to be turning things over here to our members club. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, those of you that are listening on the podcast, we're going to say goodbye to you in just a second. But I am going to say goodbye with an invitation. If at any point you'd love to join us for our members club discussions where we work through these concepts and apply them to our platforms directly, just go to platformlaunchers.com and you can take a free 2-week test drive of our members club. You can see our past training and our past discussions, and you could join us live for a couple of weeks for free and see if Platform Launchers is right for you. And if you're looking to build, grow, or monetize an online platform, we'd love to have the opportunity to get to meet you. So again, visit platformlaunchers.com, take the 2-week test drive, view the videos, look at the content we have there. I'm certain it's going to help you with your platform development. And if we have the opportunity to meet you in person, we'd love to do that as well. But right now we're going to say goodbye, and we look forward to catching up with you again next week.